Hello everyone and welcome to Art Chat. I'm Marge Lee and today we have something very special for you. We are in the quilt show at Shell Point and we're chatting with Pat Meredith, who's going to tell us all about the quilt show.
I hope to. Maybe I can enlighten you a little bit about what we've got and show you some of the quilts that are special. And
tell us how many women have participated in this.
it's a good question. There's about 30, I think,
Wow.
that have entered the things. And
Wow.
some of them more than others and put in more quilts.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
amazed at the workmanship here. So let's start here.
Right.
And you're calling this a jelly roll
And
quilt.
people don't know what jelly roll quilt
I have no idea what
Right.
that is.
This is a jelly roll. And
Ah.
you buy it at the store this way, and you can see basically the colors that are in it.
Uh-huh.
But then, when you take it out, you can just sew them in strips. They're all pre-cut at 2.5 inches. And we've got the depression, we've got the red, white, and blue, and then just colors that you like.
We're just going to walk around the show. What catches your eye here in particular to talk about?
Well, in here, this one is done, and when you look at a quilt, now a quilt is 3 layers,
Okay.
and there's the top, the batting, and the backing.
Uh-huh.
Now, if it's not quilted, and this is quilting, if it's not quilted
Uh-huh.
and tied instead of quilted, then it's no longer really a quilt. It is a comforter.
Oh.
And somebody asked, what's the difference? I said, a lot of hours. A lot of hours. It takes a lot more time to do the quilting,
The quilt, and so the quilting is this.
that part. But when you look at a quilt, you want it to hang as flat and as straight as possible.
As this one does.
Yes, as this one does.
And this is by Sue Sees.
Sue Siege did this one. And this one back here is hummingbirds and so forth. And sometimes you like to see the back sides. Some people do something to the back side rather than
yes?
just plain. Others don't. Now, I can't do all because of the way it
Look
is up
at
there.
that.
But they'll
So it's
decorate the-
reversible.
It's reversible, and they can do both sides. So
Isn't that
that's-
fascinating?
And
Okay.
this one is called a block of the month.
Uh-huh.
People get a block each month.
Mm-hmm.
It can be 12, 15 months, and they put it together and quilt it.
Look at this. Wow.
This one here. Hello, Judy.
Hi, Judy.
This one here was started by, I think his name is Brett, his wife.
Uh-huh.
She then
Joanne
passed
Brett.
away,
Okay.
and he asked his neighbor, Michelle
McCarthy.
if she would finish it. Now, his wife had done just about this much, I think, just the middle. Michelle had to do all the counted cross stitch and all the quilting. It
Which
was
is
in-
this,
yes.
this cross stitching.
This is all cross stitch, and she had to do all of that.
That's
And
amazing.
It's amazing.
And she did it by hand.
She did it by hand. She did the quilting by hand.
It's amazing.
This one is what the guys seem to like.
The wolf.
The wolf, because it's, and on this one too, she has, I'll show you over here, she has a lot on the back side of it. Got
Oh,
more
look
fabric,
at that.
Different kind of wolf fabric and so forth. So, okay.
Look at this.
All right,
What's
now this-
going on here?
This is Kathy Fassett's fabric.
Ah.
And this one is, again, it's a block quilt.
Uh-huh.
If you look, there are blocks here. You start here, this is a block. But it
Oh, I
looks so
see.
contemporary
Does.
because of the colors and the brightness. And he's
It
noted
does.
for that.
And he's a designer, a fabric
He
designer.
started as a painter, then went to knitting, and then went to quilting.
That's amazing.
so,
what a
that's-
vibrant quilt. And then this is a more
That-
traditional?
That's a traditional quilt, as this one is a very traditional quilt too. That's a grandmother's flower garden. Back in the 40s, that was the pattern. And this one is done completely by hand.
This
Yeah.
is amazing
Yes,
because
there's
there's little faces.
In there. This one I do not know too much about because she's not a member of our group,
Uh-huh.
but she lives here now, and she did this. She had a photograph taken
Uh-huh.
in Ireland, and then she come back, and this would be more an art quilt.
An art quilt.
Right. This is the one that's these two go somewhat together
Uh-huh.
because Sue sees to piece this.
Okay.
And she cuts out the backing after she applies
Uh-huh. Okay.
because she's going to hand quilt and she doesn't want many layers. So then she gave the person to cut out circles. And this is another artsy quilt over here.
Uh-huh.
These here are, again, embroidery quilts, and these happen to be kids' quilts. All of these right here.
Very fun.
And this one here is an art quilt.
Ooh.
It's got 3 things. It's got the Angelina fabric.
That's the sparkle?
The sparkle.
Oh.
On there. These are depression fabrics, and these are just what different people like to do. And, and somebody said, why do you do this? And I said, why do guys go fishing? They like to do it.
They like to do it. It's a fun, creative hobby. This is interesting. This is yours. Another one of yours.
Another one of mine.
But look at those little tiny.
Yeah. Every other one is a 4-patch of 1/4 inch.
Oh my gosh.
These here are our lap quilts that we make.
For the pavilion.
For the pavilion. Yes.
How nice.
And if you look at this quilt, every background's a different fabric, but it's also a different quilting pattern.
Look at that. So here's a pattern, and here's a pattern, and here's a pattern.
Right, and this is double stitched, and this is sort of a log hem. But it is very difficult to do this and get it to hang straight.
I can't imagine. And it is hanging perfectly straight. There's no puckering.
There's no puckering. This one here.
This is fun.
Yes, this was started by Willie Chanley as Quilts for Valor.
Oh.
And then she got into difficulty, so then she gave it to Joan Bell, who has a brother that is a veteran. So she said, if you'll make it up, you can give it to him, but I can't do this anymore. So she did it for her, finished it up. Here. We are looking at the quilt challenge, and what happens here is we're giving a quarter, fat quarter it's called, and you have the rules. You have to use 3/4 of that. You can add anything else you want. It has to be within a certain perimeter, not too small and not too large.
Okay.
And then we do what we want to with them, and then we judge.
So you start with that little piece of fabric
right,
up there. So we have fish and pillows and
we got
bags and all sorts of interesting.
You start at the top of this. It's by Carol Mann.
All right.
And it's called Top Dog.
Okay.
So here's your dog. And he goes down, he goes down, and he goes down, and here's his tail.
How fun is that? Well, I hope all of our residents had a chance to come see it, but if they didn't, thank you for being part of Art Chat so we could share it with the rest of our residents.
All right, and thank you.
Thanks to all of you for joining us. We'll see you again soon on another Art Chat. Bye-bye.